Yo, what's up? It's Patrick from Guy in the Cube. And you ever create a report, publish it, refresh the data set, and then you got no data in your report? So in this video, we're gonna do a little tinkering, and I may have an idea of something you may encounter. Stay tuned. Find this for the very first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date from all the videos from both Adam and this guy. Well, my friend Damu, he sent me a text. You ever ran into this before, Patrick? I published the data set, refreshed the data set, and now all my visuals are empty. And I was like, I can think of two things. Maybe the data source that you're using on the desktop is different from the one that you're using in the service. He's like, that's not it. And I was like, well, then there's got to be a filter somewhere. And he was like, all right. Just a few minutes later, he texts me and he's like, that's exactly what it was. But it was interesting. He's like, go read this article. And so I read this article. Wait. Enough of all this talking. You guys know what I would like to do? Let's do what? Let's head over to my laptop. So what happened was, over in Power Query on my sales territory table, his was a little different, but I just mimicked what he did. Had a column here. And you'll notice that the data type for that column is any. I know that because of this little symbol right here. It's ABC123. That means it could be numbers or it could be strings. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. And then when I did that, I closed and applied. And then I use that as a filter in the filters pane on my report. So I set it to true because I only want this to be United States. Then I published the report to the service. I went over here before I refreshed the data set and I'm like, it works. It simply works. Check it out. If I choose true, it shows United States. You can see Alabama, all the states here. If I choose false, I have no data for the United States in this map, but you can see right here all the states, right? Alberta, England, right? They're all places outside the United States. So it's working as I expected. But then I went out and I refreshed that data set. And after I refreshed the data set, this is where I got the unexpected behavior. And this is where the document that Damu shared with me really came in handy. And he was like, it's actually well documented in two places. Let me show you. There's one right here, troubleshooting refresh scenarios. And you can see right here, it says refresh a column of any type containing true false results in unexpected values. And then there's another one. It's just about data types in the Power BI desktop. And you can see here where they talk about, using the any data type. And so what happened was when I used that any data type and I did a refresh of my model, you can see right here, it's all blank. But if you look at the filters pane, what happens when you do that refresh, it actually converts the true and false to 0 and 1. So 0 is false and -1 is true. So if I choose -1, you'll see this true disappear. Once I uncheck it, it doesn't exist in that list anymore. But -1 is actually true. And then you'll see that 0 is false. Okay. So when you run that refresh, it converts those values from any to Boolean values, a 0 and a -1. And now my report's a blank because I'm using that true value, and that true value doesn't exist in my list anymore. And you saw that when I unchecked it, it completely removed. Let me show you how I fixed it. I went out to Power BI Desktop, went to transform, and I converted that value simply to a Boolean, to a true false. It still had true false as the data in the column. And then you see how it says, this is broke. And then I was able to use true false. So I used true, publish the report out. We're going to go back to my workspace, Insane Amazing. And then what I did was I just actually refreshed it. You can see the bool value. So after I refreshed it, all my data is there. But the important thing is it didn't convert it to a 0 and -1. It persisted the value as true false. So you can see false, no United States data, true, there's my United States data. And that's documented in two places, and I'll put the links to both of them where in the comments below. I honestly had never read that doc and I never encountered this before, so big shout out to Damu for bringing this up and letting us do some video documentation to complement the two docs that are out there. All right, what do you guys think? You ain't questions, you ain't comments? Have you run into this before? Did you solve it a different way? I'd love to know. Let's continue the conversation where? In the comments below. If it's your first time visiting the Guy in the Cube channel, hit that subscribe button. You like my video, big thumbs up. As always, from Adam and myself, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.